Hi guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel Reiki Zen, and welcome to another coffee chat. And today we have the lovely Claire Thackeray once again. And today we're going to talk about chakras, the effect of the chakras on the body, and ascension symptoms which can be caused by upgrades within the energy body. So say hello once again, Claire.
Hi, how are you doing?
We're all good. I think we'll be starting the Ian and Claire show before long, won't we?
I know, we're like on the deck, aren't we?
we're like a northeast double act.
Oh God.
So yeah, obviously we had a little bit of a pre-chat before we came on, and we were just discussing what to talk about, and I'd mentioned a few weeks ago when we were going to plan this about like talking about chakras, the energy body, how it works, how it can affect us every day, and obviously with ascension as well, and how it can affect not just your energy but your physical body as well. So that'll be really interesting to go into. So chakras, I mean, what's your thoughts on them, and how do you work with them in your own energy?
Chakras, do you know that there's so many different ways that you can work on them. It's unbelievable. And I also think as well, finding your own way to work with your own chakras.
Yeah.
Because everyone's system is it's all unique to you. It's all unique to your own DNA. So what works for one person doesn't work for another.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink of tea, licorice tea. I'll set you off now. I work with white light, so I can do that in meditation. Just imagining white light coming down through each chakra. You can do it quite quick, quite slow. You can visualize it going into each one and running around it. At the same time, you can visualize as the white light comes in, all the heavy, dense stuff releasing into the ground, or however you want to release it.
Yeah.
Standing in the sun as well, and visualizing, stood in the sun and visualizing the sun coming through each chakra. With the light code, you know, we think about light codes from the sun coming through the head.
Yeah.
Well, visualize it coming. You know, just stood in front of the sun.
Yeah.
And you can do that anywhere, out in nature, in town if you're waiting for your bus, in your garden, on your beach, going out into nature as well, going out where it's green, where it's earthy, working with the sea, going out with the ocean, food. Different food, you can eat different foods, green foods for the heart, blue foods for the throat chakra, clothes as well, what you're wearing. So, you know, like with the food, if you're feeling a little bit low and you want your heart space opening, wear something green. Same for your root chakra, etc. Everything really.
Yeah.
Working with water as well. I work with water so much. You get a pint of water, clean, cold, crisp water, and just put intention into it. Intention for cleansing your chakras, intention for protection, intention for release, intention, immunity as well. That's when I had COVID. I did a lot of that.
Yeah.
Just drop C word in. There you go.
That's us getting monitored.
So you're getting a flag on his channel tonight.
I know I just did and uploaded a video yesterday, and it was about grounding and protection, and a lot of obviously grounding comes into where we talk about the root chakra and how we can work with our grounding energy, and a lot of it, again, like you say, is visualization and visualizing your energy doing what you want it to do. And like you say, with the sun, visualizing it hitting each chakra and activating it and opening it up. But I mean, a lot of the things that I was talking about was similar to what you just said. It was like, you know, going out into nature, walking barefoot on the earth, walking on grass, walking on the sand at the coast. And if you can't get to the coast, then have salt baths or salt showers, because they're really, really good. And again, visualize your energy draining and getting rid of anything that you don't need around your aura, around your own energy. But again, the salt, because it's of natural compounds and what have you, it's got that earth connection, which is really, really good for grounding. I know my Reiki master, actually, he someone told him that he needed to work on his root chakra, and they suggested getting a grounding mat, so you can actually get grounding mats where
Yeah.
you plug it into the power, but it doesn't. It only uses the earth point from the from the power, so you're actually earthing yourself through the mat. He's found that quite effective as well. But yeah, I mean the root chakra is so important for spiritual growth, and I think a lot of people think that you need to just work from your heart space and up over to develop all that. But I often say in my videos and talk about is, you know, if you don't focus on the actual physical you, the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, and being grounded in the moment, then you can be a bit like a felled tree, and your energy can just be like, it'll just whisk away. You need to remain rooted and have this, even connect to this earth energy and just feel it and visualize it again coming up into your root chakra and energizing it. And that's where a lot of people, when they have like Kundalini awakenings and things like that, it all comes from your root chakra and just straight up your spine and just opens everything up, which I know like a few people that I know that have gone through that, and they have been quite quite an ordeal for a lot of them, because it's just so fast. It's like bang and then you're away. Is there any, I mean, I like to use crystals. Do you use any crystals for your root chakra or working on your grounding energy? I mean, I tend to use like either red, obviously, because that corresponds to the red color of it's normally depicted, but also like black crystals as well, which are really good, like obsidian, tourmaline, things like that. Any that you use?
Yeah, it's exactly the same as you. But for root chakra, I've got a red jumper. This is kind of red, but I've got a red jumper, pure blood red jumper, like real red jumper, honestly. And I usually put that on when I need some root chakra stuff doing. Or for what I do as well is I walk around barefoot. In the house, obviously not in Asda or anything like that, but in the house. I do. So I try and keep it really simple. Get a crystal. I've got my crystals here, a little red crystal, so it's not been polished. You can work with sprays as well. I use some sprays as well. I get mine from Angelic Celestial Colours. I use like a throat chakra spray when I'm doing videos and stuff. Not all videos. I'm not like spraying it all the time. But just if I need to get my words across a little bit clearer. Or if I'm doing some client work and I may struggle to speak up or whatever. But yeah, also as well, whenever things crop up within the body, try and see which chakra it corresponds with. Because like we spoke about the heartburn, and that's like the solar plexus and the chest, so the heart chakra and the solar plexus. And I remember I had some issues with my thyroid a few years back, so that was all throat stuff. Headaches, the crown. I'm not saying it's always that, but there's always different. There's the past life, there's a chakra system, the energy field, external energy, stress, and it all corresponds.
I know. I was well, a couple of the videos that I've done, the coffee chats. I think it was maybe the second, or I think it was the third one, where I spoke to Anna Marie, and she works with color therapy during Reiki as well. So she puts like a piece of colored cloth over the chakra and the color that corresponds to that chakra, and then she uses Reiki in that area as well. And then my last coffee chat I did with Sal, and she does craniosacral therapy, and she was talking about kind of like the science behind chakras, and how where the chakras meet is actually all where the nerves start and run out from the bodies. And I found that really, really interesting, because it's almost like spirituality and science actually finally coming together, because there is meaning behind it, and a lot of this stuff now is it's starting to be proven, and a lot of people are talking about it and exposing the truth behind chakras and how they affect the body, energy healing and Reiki and all various forms of healing as well, and how it can affect the body and help you heal and help you see things better and feel better and just develop in general. So yeah, I do find them fascinating. So that's why I thought it would be a good video just to talk about them. And then So I mean, we've touched on the root chakra. Then the next one up is the orange one, which is the sacral chakra. And obviously the sacral chakra is connected to, like, it's all about like who you are, what makes you the way you are, your sexuality, your creativity, what drives you in life, and what have you. So I mean, like, what do you think would be, if someone had an issue with the sacral chakra, how do you think it would affect them in their physical everyday life?
It depends. Say if it was a woman, she could be suffering from stuff with periods, so she could be suffering from heavy periods. She could be suffering from erratic periods. For both men and women, there could be issues within relationships, either, you know, where they're overactive or they're underactive. Body confidence as well. Body confidence is not your sense of self.
Yeah.
Also, as well, I'm feeling as though there's a connection with the throat chakra as well. So if you've no sense of self, then you'll struggle to speak up for yourself. So you'll probably find the same person that's got maybe gynecological stuff.
Yeah.
Would have issues with throat chakra, coughing, you know, viral infections, sore throat, ear stuff as well. I always forget the ears with the throat chakra.
Yeah. I mean, they are all, like, in their own way, they are all connected, you know, because this energy that runs up through us, it makes us like who we are in the physical world, and within our energetic spiritual selves as well. So I think, like, when we go, I mean, I have done like a chakra series before on my channel, but each one that I find, it's so closely connected to the next one, but then it's also really connected to all of them, all of the chakras. So like you say, the sacral chakra, if you haven't got that confidence within yourself, and then you can't speak your truth, and you can't say what you need to say. But then again, with the solar plexus, which is about your confidence and your drive, and being the tiger, and showing who you really are. Again, if there's an imbalance there, then that'll affect your throat chakra. It'll affect probably the way you see the world as well. So there's so many different incorporating factors that include the energy body and the chakras, and how important they really are to our everyday well-being and function.
Yeah, definitely, because I know shamanically, at the end of a shamanic session, one of the last things we do is we rebuild the chakra system to bring it in alignment to the healing. And one of the ways that they do it is they'll fire up each chakra. So each chakra, not when I say goes into, I don't mean they mix up. What I mean is, like, the healing will start at the root and it'll go up into the sacral. And as they're releasing it, so we do have like two lines of healing working simultaneously to get them fired back up again. So as it's coming in, it's releasing. So as you know, if you come in and you've got issues with your throat, it's going to affect everything else. Because if one chakra is blocked, it can't go up and it can't go down, and then it starts to feed off. It starts to need to seep off the power of the other chakras. Before long, I mean, we can sometimes clients can come in and they don't have a chakra system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they've not been born with one, or it's gone. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, or it can just it can just go like it can go totally off kilter, and be so unaligned within yourself and within life, and how you see things, that you don't even realize that it's all about this energy that you need to just bring back into some sort of balance and some sort of flow. And I mean, that also brings us into, which really does affect us in the bottom three chakras, is like your last video that you made about the matrix, you know, and how the matrix can affect your stability in the physical world, how it can affect every aspect of life, whether it's with relationships or works or whatever connection it may be. It's really important to have that balance between, like you said in your video about, you know, not denying and stepping away from the matrix, but having an understanding and a way that you can be accepting of it, because you know that you need to evolve around it, but you also need to work on yourself and develop within it as well.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And you can almost see when you're out, especially like in supermarkets and stuff, you can see that there's people who are so depleted.
Yeah.
There's just, I know it sounds awful, but in so many people, there's just nothing there, and they can't. They're not judging it, but they can't see. You can see that they're like. I always term it the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I know that's very disrespectful, but at least I mean, I remember, we used to go into Leeds Market. It's a market in Leeds, and you'd be walking around, and there used to be a bus stop there. When I used to get my bus as well, it'd be like you'd be looking at people. This is before my weight, and thinking, "There's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's just they are empty vessels that have they're so depleted, and they're so empty, and that's what leaves the space for the external traumas and etc. to come in.
They just become so ingrained in, I suppose, in the system really, and the way that they exist, and they just think that that's it. They get up at this time, they go to work, then they come home, then they do this, they have the tea, they go to bed, eat, sleep, repeat, and it's the same every single day, and over many years. I mean, we've all been there. We've all been there, we've all experienced it, and we all see it, and we still experience it, and we still see it. But obviously, some of us have like a clearer idea, a clearer vision of what's really going on, and also how we can help ourselves to help develop and help heal and help move through all these different changes. I know, like the last, I suppose, 5, 6, maybe even 10 years, that there's been a big push with regards to, and this is going to be quite controversial, and there'll be a lot of people that it might trigger a few people, but things like the Black Lives Matter movements, and the LGBTQ community and all that sort of stuff, where anyone that speaks ill of anyone or anything, and this has gone into current affairs with regards to COVID, and people not being allowed to have an opinion, and being sort of quashed and shut up and pushed aside when a lot of this evidence that's been coming forward from everything, all these. And for me, when I was seeing all this happen, I'm thinking they're directly affecting people's throat chakras, because it's stopping this flow of energy. It's stopping people to awaken and see so much more. And I found it quite disturbing, the way it was being used, but also quite clever, because they all have an understanding of what this is and how we work energetically.
And it's, when you think about the awakening, because the powers that were, they know about energy. They just know about energy they know about the light and the dark.
Oh yeah.
And they know what's coming just as much as, because they have psychics and mediums that work for them. Of course they do. I'm not one. God. In fact, it was funny. I don't know if we were connected then, but I did a video, and sometimes I'll take a picture of myself with a card, and then I'll put it as my screenshot. And this particular video I did like this, and I didn't realise what I was doing. I was like that, and we know that that's one of the symbols. And it came out, and I was like, a few days after, I was like, oh shit! Because, and do you know what? I actually lost some subscribers, because literally all I'd done was I just went like that.
Yeah.
And they thought I was one of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's crazy. So talking about racism and LGBT and all that community and everything, they know that that's something we need to go through for the awakening. So what they've done is they've set these movements up. I can be quite controversial with this. I'll try and behave. They've set these movements up to derail them, derail the actual conversations that could come in and need to come in about all of these areas in our life that actually could bring healing and understanding. And rather than that, what they've done is they've done this extremism, where if you literally, like the stuff with J.K. Rowling and what they've done to J.K. Rowling and cancel culture, rather than keeping it open and letting people talk and learn, it's like zip, which again, affects the throat chakra.
Yeah, it is interesting, but it is very dark and very disturbing how they operate. We kind of like know who they are, but they are the people that never really get spoken about. It's all the puppets in front of the facade that are there, like in the blame game, really. So yeah, I mean, we went on a bit of a tangent there, but yeah. So the next chakra.
What we are.
The next one's obviously the solar plexus, which is just where the ribs meet, that little bit there, just below the heart, and yeah, that's kind of like depicted in a vibrant yellow, or sometimes almost like a golden yellow color, and that's like your center for like confidence, and like I said before, like the ability to drive through life and be able to achieve things, and again, that comes very much in hand with your root chakra, because if you're not grounded, you don't find stability in who you are, then again it affects everything. It affects the whole system, and it's learning to be able to, like with energy work and how we work with various techniques and tools and crystals, about how to develop that energy and work with it. So I mean, what would be some of the things that you would do to sort of work with your solar plexus chakra?
Well, funny we should say that, because that is the one chakra I struggle to balance. And it can either be overactive, where I'm like going for it, not thinking about it, I get an idea in my head and I'm going to go for it, or it's like, oh, I can't be bothered with this, and it's like, so I have to really struggle to balance that. But the other day I went in to empty the summer house, which is where I used to work from, and it's where my original business was. And I went in and I'm emptying it, and I didn't feel anything, and I'm fine, I'm taking all my crystals out, and I started with this debilitating heartburn. And I just felt sick, and I thought, God, I couldn't move. It was just like, God, I do struggle with that. I've got to a point, like when I first went on medication, it didn't work. I'm on medication, but now I work with shamanism and Reiki as well as, and the next step is to come off of it gradually.
Yeah.
I thought, God, what is this? And it was like coming up, that burning feeling up my throat. And I thought, yeah, I know what this is. And I just grounded, and I just said, I see you. It's because it was a failed venture, but it wasn't a fail, it was just a blip. But my body was reacting to it as I was emptying the summer house. And I just let it do it. I just let it do it. And I told myself I'm safe, I'm well. I sat down and I breathed. Another thing you can do as well, I've mentioned this on my own channel, is blowing out. So obviously make sure you don't blow onto somebody. But if you feel as though there's any dark energy, as in stress or anything like that, or you feel as though there's a disalignment, you would just blow it out. Deep breath and just blow it out. And imagine it going into a waterfall or a fire, or imagine your guides taking it. Don't blow it onto somebody. And it actually clears. It can actually clear it. It takes some time. And then you just breathe in white light to fill that space, and it just balanced like that.
That's fascinating. That's really some good techniques there, some really good techniques, because I know obviously we've talked about heartburn, and I did get some medication from the doctors for it, and touch wood, it's been okay, but I have done a lot of energy work there. I've even used singing bowls and sound to try, and it's funny, when I put I laid on the floor in here, and I put the singing bowl on my stomach, and I hit the singing bowl and let it ring, and I felt the vibration of the sound going into my body, and then I felt like things moving inside me, like displacements of energy, and there was like little pops and movements. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I thought it was gonna be like a scene out of Alien or something, and I thought, what's going on here? And then I thought, all right, I'll move it up into the heart space, and did it there, and then again I felt like little pockets of things moving within my body, and then I moved it down onto my sacral chakra and did the same again. And sometimes when I do use the singing bowl, I will start and I'll just ring it around about my root chakra, and I'll just keep knocking it and working it all the way up the body till I'm like above my head, and then I'll work around the ears, around the third eye, back down again, and work back down the body. And that sound, it's got such a really therapeutic but powerful ability to just clear and move and shift things. And I think because it's got that physical vibration as well, it really helps to affect us as a physical being, to really shift and rattle that whatever it is away. But sometimes when you feel it, you think, well, what the hell's that? What's moving? What's going on? But yeah, there's some really great techniques for every for every chakra. And talking about like the root chakra, going back a few years ago, I lost a job. I was made redundant. So I was in a process of kind of between jobs, and I've never been out of work. So obviously my security, my sense of security just kind of like just nosedived. So, and then it was funny because I started getting like pains in my feet and in my ankles and in my knees. And I'm like, oh God. And I was like staggering around like an old man. I was like, what's going on here? And then eventually when I got back into doing some work and got a job and everything was like settled down, all them pains went away. It was all to that root chakra, because I was ungrounded and I felt I was out of stability. I was out of balance. Really, really powerful stuff. And like you say, I mean, it can't always be attributed to the energy body and the chakras, but it's surprising how much we are affected by our energy, what we think, our thoughts, how our thoughts manipulate everything that's going on within us. Really is a fascinating subject. Anything else you want to add about the solar plexus? About
did I think of something? I'm sure I thought of something and I've lost it.
It's interesting about the breathing, like meditating when you breathe and you kind of like breathe into your belly as well. And you do your belly breathing, you kind of breathe into that area as well. A little bit lower down if you can, but just feel it, filling that area and filling that solar plexus and filling up. And then, like you say, blowing it out and letting go of that, anything that isn't serving you.
Yeah. Food as well. Comfort eaters. Anorexia as well, starving that area, overfeeding that area. So diet, and that's a good indication of what's happening. Because I've never been anorexia, but I once went on a crash diet and I went really crazy on it, and barely eating anything, training like a mad woman. And then there's periods where I've comfort ate, and it's just diet, watching what you're eating as well, and that you're not. Also as well, foods can affect your chakra system.
Yes.
Certain foods you'll eat and it's like you can just feel your chakras just tense up. You can't digest it.
Yeah, I know. I work like part-time alongside doing the Reiki work, and in a supermarket of all places, right in the Matrix. But yeah, I mean, we get, whenever I get a break, it's like 15-minute break, so like it's no time at all to eat, so you kind of like ramming something down your throat, and then you're back to it dead quick. And again, it's that giving yourself time to appreciate your food, to eat your food, to take your time to chew it properly, so your body can work with it and digest it and get the nutrients out that it needs. So yeah, diet is really, really important. Like the colors, is like you said before, about eating the different colored foods that are associated with the chakras and the energy body. Really important. Bananas, I mean, yellow foods, bananas, melon, all that sort of stuff.
And I was going to be naughty then and say custard, but
Custard.
What, do you know? Anyway,
bit of lemon cake and some custard. There we go. So next one is the heart chakra, and obviously, I mean, I did a heart chakra meditation on my channel just the other day, and I really enjoyed doing it, and I felt really good after doing it, even though I was like talking. So you have to be kind of like, you can't go as deep into it as what you want, but yeah, I felt it was really, really beneficial for the heart space. And as we know, it's the beginning kind of your spiritual, I suppose, energy, and how it's starting to work up into your upper chakras. And obviously we know it's connected to things like joy and love and having compassion for yourself, and love for yourself, and love for others. Is there any other things that you think can affect the heart chakra?
Trauma affects it. Also not being loved, never receiving love can affect it. Your environment affects it as well. The environment that you're living in affects it. The environment that you're working in affects it. Your lifestyle affects it. So if you're self-sabotaging, if you're overeating, solar plexus, if you're over drinking, if you're taking recreational drugs and you're just it just affects the heart. The company that you keep as well, the things that you're watching, the things that you're reading on the news. If you're constantly watching traumatic news, you can feel it just tenses up. And you can tense up and then relax. If you're constantly watching things that are tensing, it'll just tense up.
And because it's in the chest as well, it creates a lot of that anxiety. Anxious energy as well is within the heart chakra, and I suppose the solar plexus as well, because sometimes anxious energies can make your heartburn react and make your stomach do things that you don't want it to do. And again, that's where we go into this connection between all of them, and how they're all so powerful and how they have to work in this union of energy. But yeah, I mean, I do try to work on that quite a lot, because I do think as well, this sort of heart connection is deeply rooted, I think, in a lot of your intuition and a lot of your, what you feel. What you feel is right, what you feel is wrong, and it may differ from person to person, and that's where this balance comes in. But the heart space is so powerful, and I think it's kind of, I think it can be kind of underrated, because I think the world is geared to just use the brain and be always functioning from the head.
Definitely.
Down here is where there's so much more power to use. And do you work with the heart chakra as well when you're doing any your forms of healing, or when you're working with tarot and crystals?
Yeah, definitely. You can find also a lot of external energies can attach to the heart chakra and the solar plexus, because obviously if they attach onto the solar plexus, they can affect your function, they can affect your mojo. If they attach onto the heart, they stop you loving, they stop you receiving love. They can, really destabilize you by doing that. But yeah, you probably do know about the amount of people that come in and the heart chakra is just totally closed. Or it's just not there, or they're absolutely terrified to open it up. Brick walls. You can often find clients that have built brick walls around the heart chakra, and when you're going in to journey, you can see these brick walls that they've built. And it can take years to get all of us to get a heart chakra functioning healthily. Because we could, even when you're on your healing journey, you can still close it down.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're stressed or traumatized, it could be so easy to want to shut it down, and that's it. People that split up with people and then they say, I'm never dating again, or I'm never loving again, and they won't date and they won't meet anybody else. That'll just close it off.
And it's where a lot of your light comes from, isn't it? It's where you are in a stable place, and you are expressing your truth, and your energy is expanding, and it all expands from your heart space, and people can see that. When you walk around, and I said this yesterday in my video as well, where you can go into a busy place and there'll be people that will just sort of stand out, and everyone, or maybe everyone, will turn to look at you when you walk in the room, because you energetically, you're on such a good vibe. And it's also one of them things that you have to be, like you say, you have to be quite careful with, because going into different places and certain environments, like you say, this negative emotions and feelings and energy that's all around us all the time, it can affect your glow, it can affect your vibration, it can bring you down. And that's where we need to, again, I mean, it's a daily process of working with your energy, isn't it?
And opening your heart chakra as well, you've got to do it gradually, because it can actually hurt. And people don't realize it can hurt, because you see it all the time. Just open your heart chakra, and it's like, don't, because one of the techniques that I always recommend is imagine it as a bud, like a rosebud that's closed, and just work on just unfurling one petal. When you can just open one petal and you're comfortable with that, then the next one, until you can unfurl the rose, and then focus on watering the rose and watching the colours of the rose, and that's how you can do it, rather than just going, just open your heart chakra. It can be painful, can that?
And it can create, ascension, it can create a lot of symptoms, you know. So like with your heart chakra, palpitations, anxiety, all different feelings and thoughts, you know, which is connected to like ascension and ascension symptoms. I know about oh, I can't remember how long ago it was now. It was about maybe a year ago. I woke up one morning to go to work, and my heart was going absolutely crazy. It was just like bum, 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 and it just wouldn't slow down. It wouldn't get its beat. It was just, and it was going, it did this for about over an hour. And in the end, after about 20 minutes, I phoned 111 and explained it to them. And they were like, oh, well, I think you need to go to the nearest hospital and speak to somebody there. So I was like, all right, okay. So couldn't get a taxi. So we had to walk up to the hospital at like 5 o'clock in the morning with all the weights and strafes hanging around. And then eventually got to the hospital, and it took about 4 hours to actually see somebody. By that time, everything had calmed down and all that sort of stuff. And anyway, they'd said at the hospital, "Oh, we're going to fit you with a monitor so you can wear that for like a week and see." And it never happened again. But when I mentioned it to somebody, they said, that's really strong ascension symptoms. You know, it's something that you can go through. And again, a lot of people don't realize that these things can happen on your spiritual journey. And even now, when I know there's presence is near, or if I know there's spirit near, I do get this really anxious beating heart, and I'm just like, oh, right, who's this? What's going on? Not again. What do they want now? And then I'll have to go downstairs. I'll just have a cup of tea, and I'll try and calm myself down. And I'll try and see who it is, what they want. And if they don't want to speak, or they don't want to communicate, then bugger off and leave me alone. So yeah, but it can be quite scary for a lot of people, and when they don't really. And I think that's why this kind of information is really good to kind of put people into what can happen on the spiritual sense. Can affect you so much on a physical 3-dimensional sense as well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to look at the medical records since 2020 and see what people are going in with, and it'll look obviously not awful there, but you've got to watch, haven't you? You know, anxiety, panic attacks, heart attacks, injuries, what part of the body are they injuring? You know, even the virus itself, every virus, every book you get comes into clear. Every disease, every illness is coming into clear.
Yeah, it's just a removal.
It's interesting to see what people are going in with.
Yeah.
And then you got anxiety, and then it's tablets and
cover it up. Don't deal with the root cause. So
I remember going to a doctor and saying I'm having panic attacks. I wanted antidepressants at the time. I said I'm having panic attacks, and they gave me pills. The main symptom, the main side effect was panic attacks.
Yeah, that was the same.
I went out and I was like, wow. And it was like even off the scale more than I'd ever had in my life. And I was like, this is sick. And it was like the world was just like sweating. And and I looked at the back, and it was like the main one. Do not take if you have anxiety.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what baffles me, is like all this medication which is supposed to work, the symptoms and what they can cause is exactly what you're taking it for. So then you think, what are you taking it for? You know, what's it going to achieve? And again, I mean, what the antidepressants did for me years ago was it just kind of like, it just dumbed me down, it numbed me, it just turned me into someone from The Walking Dead. You know, I was just like so closed off from everything, and gradually I think it just starts to just shut everything down. And then eventually I was just like, I am not doing this anymore, I'm not taking these anymore. And then that's when you go into your own, you start discovering ways of developing and healing yourself. And obviously meditation for me was a big one, and then the Reiki. So, and then crystals was before the Reiki. So really powerful stuff. I was going to talk about something else there, and I can't remember. I've gone off on a wobler again.
I don't know what you're going to call this video, but
we'll call it wobblers. So yes, the next chakra we've already touched on is obviously the throat chakra, and that's to do with obviously your communication, being able to speak and communicate clearly. And obviously you've made like a really good point of how, you know, your sacral chakra or your root chakra or whatever, your solar plexus chakra, it can all connect to your throat chakra. And you'd said yourself as well that you have thyroid issues. So did you think that was connected to that as well?
Yeah. Because it was just before I started doing the shamanic training, and actually we went for blood tests because we were trying for a child at the time. We went for blood tests to see what was wrong, and all this stuff came up for me. Online diabetic. I think it was an underactive thyroid, or just on the cusp of everything, and that tied in with where I was at the time. Had to do, because the strange thing is I was going through a period of inconstant sore throats as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that do suffer from sore throats, they tend to have, would you say it was underactive if they have a sore throat, or overactive?
I'm tempted to say both. I think you could.
Yeah.
I think it appear in.
Yeah, it can just manifest in various ways, can't it? And all sorts of things can go on around. And like you said, the ears as well. The ears are, because it's all like connected. Yeah, it's a really interesting one. And obviously with the way it's depicted as well, it's depicting, it's obviously like a light blue lotus flower. And the symbol inside it is like, it's like an arrow pointing up over. So as obviously the energy is moving up from the throat. So how would you say that the throat chakra is connected to, like, say, the third eye? Would you say there was like a correlation between the two, of like speaking truth and things?
Yeah. Do you know, it's weird because as you mentioned that, I see a lot of like the light worker community that is when they start to see things and they be their own stuff and then the collective stuff. What I think can happen is we can then become overactive with our mouth.
Yeah.
Because we've spent our whole lives playing the game, and then you see it a lot. We're all guilty of it, and then you start finding out certain things, and you start to people that aren't ready. And I briefly mentioned that about on my Matrix video, that if somebody's not ready and you start talking about this, and it can do, and people are well invested in the health in health and stuff in that sector, you can really scare them.
Yeah.
So it's about balancing the throat chakra.
Yeah. And
but also as well, what you said about the movements that they're putting out there at the minute, that are encouraging people from either side to start overusing the throat chakra.
Yeah, because everyone's got like an opinion, and everyone's got a voice, and everyone's got like something that they want to say, and a point that they want to put across. But then as soon as people start getting like shut down and quietened, or they get on Facebook they get fact checked and all that sort of stuff, and that's not true, even though we've now realized that these fact checkers aren't even qualified in the field of things that the fact check. They're just basically journalists, and they're just feeding more into the system. But yeah, that shutting down and cutting off it directly affects this throat chakra, and stops people from being able to like connect deeper with the spiritual self and see things a bit more. Any more to add to that one, throat chakra?
I keep getting fed, but I keep losing it. Maybe I'm not meant to start on camera, I don't know. Because it is about the stuff that you're fed, and the constant fear that you're fed, and that, so if you're seeing that, because your third eye, you don't just see the light stuff, you see the dark stuff as well.
Oh yeah.
That's it. Do you know what? If you've got people that are all starting to awaken, so the heart chakras are starting to come alive, the third eyes are opening, they're starting to feel things more, their energy field is changing. You start throwing in all this fear, on your phone, you pick up, it goes again. It starts to really destabilize you. And you think, well, I'm watching videos and it says that light's coming, yet I'm going on to this and my phone, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
But one thing that came through just before we came on was all the stuff we're seeing right now is nothing new.
No.
It wasn't new. pandemics aren't new. You know, we used to have the AIDS pandemic, and they pumped that and pumps that and pumps that and pumps that. It's the same with this. So nothing's changed. Nothing. It's still the same stuff. It's just we're seeing it more with the light that's coming in.
Yeah, it's exactly the same processes, but I find it quite interesting how we've gone from one situation with regards to COVID, gone slap bang straight into like another one, where normally you get a little bit of time to sort of recalibrate your energy, get used to being in the way things are, the way things have become, how maybe how people have had to realign the way they work or adjust things to deal with it all. But yeah, it's just gone from like bump to bump straight into the next thing to keep people. I think again, it's to keep people on the back foot, keep people grounded, keep people unbalanced, because it's this fear and worrying about being blown up with a nuclear weapon or whatever. You know, it's just constant churning of this barrel. And it's not good for our energy. And you know, that's why I do say all the time, and you probably do as well, you know, just like try and keep away from the mainstream media and the news, because even that in itself, it's like a parasitic energy, and it's feeding on you, it's feeding on your energy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we should be talking about, because I'm thinking, why are we talking about this in a chakra? But it's affecting chakras. It's what you're seeing, it's what you're channeling, it's what you're speaking about to people, it's what people are speaking about to you. It's opening your heart, and then it's closing your heart, and then it's
because I think if you don't talk about it, you don't express it, other things manifest within your physical body, and then you become ill with whatever else you become. And then you have to go down the line of trying to investigate, why am I ill? What do I need to do? Who do I need to see? You know, and then you go back down the road, and it's just like a constant hamster wheel. Whereas if we kind of like just, I'm not saying let people have to just like chuck the TVs out the window and forget about it altogether. But some people, well, a lot of people really, that are just sat day after day after day watching the news and watching the headlines and watching the breaking news. And you know, breaking news, it's like breaking. It's like breaking you down gradually. What's happening next? And people are never being within the present moment. Then you know, they're taking it straight out, because they're thinking, oh well, what's the next one going to be? What's the next report going to be? What's going to happen next? And it very powerful stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's having a massive impact. Taking away from that, before I forget, one of the things I work with as well for chakras, for everything really, is moon and sun water. So you may have seen it on my Instagram. I've got a water bottle, we've both got now, from Bee Water. That's not an advertisement, by the way. And it's got crystals in. You've got to be careful, haven't you? It's got crystals down the middle. You can choose your own crystals. And whenever there's a new moon or sun, we charge it up on the windowsill.
Yeah.
The new moon, full moon, sun rays, even if it's a portal, and the crystals obviously charge up. I mean, you can I've got grids. Let me see, like Metatron's grid, or the I'll try and show you it. I'll try and take. This is where it all falls down. Right, I'll take my crystals off there. But you get a grid like that. That's Metatron's Q. Put it on your windowsill with your water bottle on it, in with the sun or the moon, and you charge that up overnight or all day. Put it in the fridge to make it cold, so it's nice to drink. And then as you're drinking it, with the intention for it to hit the chakras.
Yeah, and light up your energy from inside.
I know it's just their word, but you can get these off Amazon.
You can get tarot cards, can't you? I say you can get tarot cards from there as well, can't you?
No, you can't.
Because I messaged you yesterday saying, how many cards do you have? Where do you get them from? And you were like, mostly Amazon. I know, I got them ones from Amazon, which are the Messages from Angels by Doreen Virtue. And then the other one I got off Amazon, did I? Yes, I did. Was Kyle Gray, Angels and Ancestors. Absolutely love that deck. I'm feeling drawn to get another deck, but I don't know what to get at the minute. So I'm sure they'll pop out when I see them.
I know to say about crystals from Amazon, because how they've been found and stuff. But I think your books, you know what? This is what I say about social media. Yes, the intention of it behind it may have been a little bit rocky, well, a lot rocky. But think of what it's also done the other side of the coin. How it's brought people together, and and also with Amazon, when people say, you've got to concentrate on small businesses, a lot of small businesses sell through Amazon.
Yeah, they do. You're right. Yeah.
They get a lot of their revenue through Amazon, especially during lockdowns and stuff when they couldn't open the shops.
Yeah.
But there's also people that rely on the jobs. I'm not going to go into the big debate about how they treat the workers, but if you're a delivery driver, you rely on Amazon for your pay packet in the month. So what's wrong with that?
Exactly.
I love being controversial.
Well, that's it. That's another part of the matrix, isn't it? It's how the matrix works and how we incorporate ourselves within it. And I mean, I love supporting small businesses and going where I can, but you can't always. I mean, I'm a musician as well, as you obviously know, because you've seen my videos. But I can't, because we don't have a music shop in Darlington anymore. So I have to either travel to Middlesbrough or Newcastle, which is just like, well, what's the point when I can just order them online, get free delivery, and have them delivered to my door? So it's not costing me in fuel. And obviously with the price of fuel, you're kind of restricted as how far you want to go now, because it's getting more and more expensive. And at the minute, it just feels like we're just being kind of like penned back in again because of these. It's almost like a restriction on fuel, really, isn't it? It's like you can only travel if you're earning 100 grand a year or whatever, because it's just becoming more and more obscene, the cost of things and the cost of fuel especially.
But do you know what also as well, the other side of that is thinking about cars for the environment, and also if you're driving around less, you'll walk more. It's like Gary's just changed his job, and obviously that's why we're moving to Lincoln and stuff, because he works in Lincoln, but he's been doing some work in Leeds at the Leeds office, and he had to get the bus the other day, not the bus, the train, and it was like he said he actually enjoyed it because he got to walk to the bus station. He got to sit on the train, put his music on, then go walk through Leeds, and rather than just sat in a van in traffic. So there's going to be a lot of pluses that come from it. It's going to be frustrating for a lot of people that rely on it. But I think as well, thinking about how we use cars, because some people are in and out of them all day. They're going to corner shop in the car, or
Yeah, absolutely. And like we're
everywhere in the car when the kids could walk. Oh, we're gonna trigger some people with this.
Like we talk about the grounding and getting out into nature and working on your energy and the protection and all this sort of stuff, and that's part of it. Like you say, if you're not driving, even if it's just a 10-minute, 15-minute walk to work or whatever, doing that, it gets you outdoors, it gets you in the fresh air. You might be able to walk through a park and be close to trees and be on grass and be close to nature, but you may not as well. So then you have to think about other alternatives of how you can adapt that and adapt the way you travel. So
because cars are going, cars are going.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you think about New Earth, is there any space for a car in New Earth?
No, not at all.
You think about people having to work for the big mortgages, the big cars, some families 2, 3, 4 cars, and big foreign holidays, and the pressure that they're in jobs that are making them ill. So all this matrix falling up, this is all part of the matrix falling apart. The fuel price is going up. Right, you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm getting rid of that car. Can't deal with it.
Yeah.
And then they're freer then to do a different type of job. Or they can start walking out and going out into nature and thinking about where they're living as well.
That ties us really well into the third eye, because it helps see different ways of operating and different ways of working, and how you can navigate your way through life easier because your third eye is starting to operate. And so, I mean, you don't have to be spiritual or any spiritual path for your third eye to operate. It's just like, it's basically about, it's about imagination. It's just about using your intuition, which I think for a lot of people it is there, but for other people, I think a lot of the time it's kind of like pushed aside and forgotten about of how deeply spiritual we really are as energy beings, and how the intuition and the third eye can really help govern quite a lot within our lives. How do you work with the third eye? How do you operate with it?
It can be quite overwhelming.
Mm.
So resting, as well, I've said this on my own channels, resting not always been thinking about spiritual stuff, going out and just doing all the 3D matrix stuff, going out and getting on with your life out there as well. Resting, crystals, water, sprays, Reiki, shamanic healing. It was funny the other day, I ended up with a dry patch right in the middle, like a proper circle of just dry. And I was like, at least I put my finger up, I thought, God, that might have flaky skin. And my guy was like, you're overworking.
Right,
Back, and I thought, you know, that's amazing. It just went, you know, it was dry. Not that it dried up, but it was just a symbolism, let rest.
It can be overwhelming when it starts opening up and starts operating, and you start seeing. I mean, how did you? I think for me it was quite a slow, steady process where I started to like see things and then having like different ideas and different thoughts about things, and other people were just about like, I don't know what he's talking about, but it's a big weird. But so how did you kind of like start to I suppose awaken within the third eye, and was it kind of like a wham bam, there you go, get on with it?
It was actually, this ties into our last joint video that we did about my past life with injuries to the head, because when I was doing some healing for that, the guide said that because obviously that's another thing, when people have head injuries, it can and because it was obviously hammer injuries, it actually smashed open my third eye and smashed open my crown chakra. So that's why I said when I talked about awakening, it was all like really full on, seeing things, feeling things. And it has been quite debilitating. In, like, you know, when I used to work in you know, in the old institution that I used to work in, nearly named it. I'd have been slapped for that. Somebody would have listened to me, no doubt. I remember in that institution seeing things that nobody else could see. And I became really isolated in there because I could see the stuff that was going on that nobody else could see it. They couldn't see it. You see, I could see like the demonic interference there, the reptilian interference there. I didn't know what it was at the time. Like working with people that would be really nice and you'd have a laugh. The next minute they'd really flip out and they'd be like really demonic. Because, you know, institutions like that, medical institutions, where there's death, there's life, there's depression, that's where the energies like to suck onto. So they affect staff there as well, they affect the patients. There's a lot of trapped souls that work that are still anchored to these places. So it would be really exhausting until I realised afterwards what it was. I wasn't going mad, I was just seeing it all.
And there was no kind of filter. It was just on, and then that was it. I mean, I get quite a bit like that if I do like a crystal meditation and I work on my third eye with, say, an amethyst or a moldavite or something like that, and just work with the energy of that on the third eye. And sometimes maybe for like a day later, it's just like it's like overload, and it's just like boom, 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 and I'm just seeing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, what's all this going on? But then again, it's about like then going back into yourself, going back into your grounding, working on your energy, doing your cleansing, just bringing that back into balance, because you needed to operate on you need to operate on an even keel within your physical life, and then obviously operate fully and have it open when you need to go into whatever spiritual work you might be doing.
I also use selenite. I mean, I've got loads of selenite in here, and you can, I mean, I use these too. You can either, obviously there's that one, like a palm stone, or there's that. And what I'll tend to do is I'll sit in my meditation chair and just put it on like, this is lovely, by the way.
Yeah.
Ice.
Yeah.
So I don't do it every day. I mean, God help my sinuses if I did, but in fact, I'll stop doing it in case I start again. Or doing that and just cleansing what you're seeing, not because you don't want to see it, but say you've had a real bad day in the matrix or you've been doing lots of clients, you just need to rest. And it's just putting that on and it's really cool.
Yeah.
And just asking to absorb it. And once you feel it's done, what I do is I'll then put it on the windowsill and I'll ask it to be transmuted out to the sun and just to be cleansed.
Yeah. I tend to use selenite either usually before any sort of work that I'm doing, and I'll just work it around my aura and just ask it to cleanse my aura. Or if I've been out in the matrix or been to work and whatever, and then come back home, again, I'll use it around my aura, and then like you said, put it in the sun, let it transmute, let it move away, and let that energy move on, do what it needs to, because it can be overwhelming. And I think like people as well will probably, if the third eye is underactive or overactive, they'll probably have a lot of issues with headaches and maybe a lot of dreams as well, or nightmares. That's the other balance, isn't it, between them?
Yeah, definitely. Also as well, when you're sleeping, I've got like a little altar at the side of my bed with crystals. Not crystals where you're going to be super active, but crystals like I've got selenite there, I've got rose quartz, I've got protection crystals. Also, sometimes I'll put them in my pillow. So if you have night terrors or nightmares, also I've got some Aqua de Florida water at the side of the bed that I put on before I go to bed. If I get a nightmare, because sometimes you can't, you just spray it around.
Yeah.
And just crystals in your pillow. Obviously not where you're going to be sleeping, but under the pillow itself.
Yeah. I wear when I go to bed, I wear like a protection bracelet. So it's like like tiger's eye and hematite, and then I also have crystals in the room as well, just in case. Sometimes I'll have a little bag and I'll put them under the pillow, but like you say, it tends to be ones that are softer and more gentle energy, like a rose quartz or something for loving energy and for grounding energy and protection. So yeah, it's vital that we work on that energy, I think, especially when we're in dream state, because you can be quite, I suppose, open and vulnerable if you don't work on that energy.
Definitely. Cleaning your bed as well, washing your bed in and making sure your bed space is clear. You also not just physically cleaning it and washing your bed in, but smudging and saging your bedroom. You don't have to do it every day, but just at least once a week. Get those windows open and get that old energy out.
I love opening the windows and just letting nice clean air in, clean energy in. If I need to, I'll go around with the sage and just let it do what it needs to do, and out it goes. And then it leaves. It's surprising how it does leave the rooms feeling so much lighter, so much brighter, and just has a really, really lovely feeling once you have saged. It's obviously been used for so long, and we know how powerful it is to use for things like that. So I mean, lastly, we're on to like the crown chakra. Anything you want to talk about with the crown? Because again, it's quite a powerful chakra, and it's where you receive a lot of information, a lot of downloads. Again, dream states, nightmares, headaches. Ways of balancing the crown chakra.
White light, everything we've said, white light, meditations, regular Reiki, regular healing sessions where you get a practitioner that can come in and clear it, because we can only do so much ourselves. For your crown chakra, Archangel Metatron, asking Archangel Metatron to come in and cleanse it to make sure that there's nothing else latching on, because that's where they can latch on, or Commander Ashtar, where they can come in and just clean it and just make sure that it's fine and that it's doing what it needs to be doing. But going back to the third eye, to open your third eye, it's very similar to the heart chakra. Start gradually.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, some people don't have a choice and it's just like, but if you're a little bit hesitant, start gradually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with what we're going through now, because the last thing you want to do is cause a crisis.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, if you're closed off and then all of a sudden you open and you start seeing things, it can be a real shock to the system, and that can have quite a debilitating effect on the rest of your energy body and the rest of your chakras. And again, they can then start becoming unbalanced and out of alignment, and you need to do even more work again to try and get them back into some sort of flow. But yeah, I mean, so much power within us, so underrated. And
online meditations as well, before I forget, online meditations on YouTube, like the ones you've done yourself, and ones on YouTube, the chakra meditations for all the chakras, for each individual chakra, guided meditations as well.
How did you feel after the chakra meditation?
God, you put me in a coma.
Sorry.
Well, I was quite wide awake as well, which is weird. And then it got up from the sacral, solar, throat, came to the third eye, but it was just like
just out.
Yeah, which is good. Yeah, I was out. It was really good.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think as well that if they fall asleep, then they've missed out on it, but they haven't. It's like it's all part of the process. Your subconscious is still taking in this information that you need for you.
Yeah. A lot of people that have healing fall asleep, it's because they need to move you out or move you away from it, so you don't interfere, because especially when you do it yourself, you can start interfering, if that makes sense. Not in a bad way, but just need to move you out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think
it's like when I first started meditating, I used to always fall asleep, because I think sometimes it can be, if there's deep healing as well, they'll just put you asleep so you're out of it, and then they can just come in and do what they need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I know so some of my clients, that they always say like, oh, I fell asleep, so I didn't really feel the effect of it. I'm like, but it doesn't really matter. That the fact that you're asleep gives credit to you, because one, you're relaxed into the situation, you're enjoying it, and you're not overthinking about it. And then the fact that you're consciously away from that situation, it's now giving the energy chance to work with what it needs to work with you, and you're not consciously blocking anything with your mind, because you might start thinking, well, why am I feeling that, and what's that doing there, and yada yada yada, and then you put too much thought into it and it blocks the whole process. So the fact that you're out the way and you're asleep, it helps with the healing.
Definitely. I mean, I used to, when I first started doing Reiki on people, I used to fall asleep.
What, when you were doing it on them?
This wasn't before I did clients. This was when I trained, I had to do case studies.
Right. Yeah.
It was all done by a distance. It wasn't. I mean, who did I watch on YouTube the other day? Oh God, what's her name? She does Reiki, but she does a lot of distance Reiki, and she said that it once happened to her when she fell asleep, and she felt awful. And afterwards, the client turned around and said that was the most powerful session I've ever had.
Was
and
it
basically,
Reiki?
Yeah, that's the one. And she said that, she realised that she needed to just sleep and just take the healer out of it, because you feel as though you know what's good for the client, and the one being that knows what's good for the client is the higher self.
Yeah, I know, and like a lot of people like think that that we as practitioners, we have some sort of control over it, but we don't. It's not us. We're just there as kind of like the receiver and the transmitter, the channel. But that is it. We don't involve ourselves in any aspect of it, because, like you say, your subconscious and your higher self know exactly what you need at that precise moment.
Yeah, definitely. So I didn't fall asleep in front of clients, but that's when I first started training. And again, it's because the energy was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And there was so much, when you do Reiki, yourself, you receive it. So you're shifting just as much as that client shifting as well.
I know when I did my case studies as well, and I was just practicing on friends and family, and the thing that I often get with when I do contact Reiki is I will get really, really dizzy, because I can feel the energy just coming in, and then and then I'll start making. You're going to shout at me here, but I'll start making like empathic connections to the person, so I'll feel like that empathic thing, and I'll have that connection to them. Whereas when I do distance Reiki, I'm not that energetically involved with them. I'm more, it's more an intuitive thing that I feel with them. But again, that's not, I can say these things and give these ideas of what we think and what we feel, but again, the energy knows exactly what it's doing and where it needs to go for that person at that precise moment.
Yeah, the only thing I say about that empath thing is it's not that I have a problem with, it's the narcissists that are claiming they're empaths.
Yeah, it's
that's my bugbear with it.
Because if you really are an empath, you won't be constantly going, oh well, I'm an empath, I'm an empath, I'm an empath.
That's what I'm on about. I'm an empath. You don't. There's a difference between you doing Reiki and feeling into, because that's the same with shamanic healing. If the client's purging, I'll purge. If the client's angry, I'll be angry.
Yeah.
What I'm on about is people that haven't healed the trauma, and I'm an empath everywhere. I'm an empath. You know, a bit like what I used to do, because that's what you think. I'm an empath. I feel so much, as though they feel more than other people. That's when I get a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
that's when I think it becomes unhealthy. But like you were doing, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll let you off that one.
The thing I always talk about with regards to empaths and what have you is everybody's an empath. Whether you like it or not, we are all empathic beings because we're energy. You know, and we interact with energy in different ways. Some people are more sensitive to it than others, but we don't need to shout from the rooftops about it.
Yeah, that's what I get upset with, the shout from rooftops.
It is what it is, and it does what it does. So yeah. Anything else you want to add? Anything you want to talk about Ascension? Because we've not really talked about Ascension.
I know. Maybe for the next one.
We've just talked about energy and chakras, but anything else you want to add today, Claire?
No, I think we'll leave that.
Leave that there, yeah. Because I think there's enough for people to kind of absorb and take in and talk about and think about. Yeah, definitely. So right, okie dokie. Well, we'll end this here, and thank you again for joining and making the time to have a bit of a chat. It's lovely to see you again, because we haven't done one for a while. It's been a few weeks. I'm sure we'll do another one again in the future at some point.
Definitely. We'll do Ascension next time and Awakening. I don't know. Or Symptoms, or we'll think of something.
Yeah, we'll think of something. We'll knock our heads together and see. see what we can do. But yeah, until the next video, thank you very much again, Claire, and we'll see you all again soon. Do take care of yourselves. Bye for now.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.